you're so clear on your conviction of what you want. You found a solution that you believe is going to get you to where you need to go, and you're all in.
Right.
And there's no excuses, because the truth is the only thing holding us back from getting the things that we actually want is ourselves.
Coach Miguel here,
Coach Drew here, and you're listening to the Finding Reason podcast,
where we focus on the 5 factors of health: nutrition, sleep, movement, mindset, and connection.
Enjoy.
Hey guys, this is Coach E here with another episode of the Finding Reason podcast. We have a very special guest here today. We have an ex-coach and now not a coach, Peter Lin, with us, the famous one, the Airwave sponsored athlete, influencer, and 4:30 p.m. superstar. So say hi, Pete.
Thanks. Hi. Good to be here as a special guest.
Today's episode is going to be kind of a look back, blast in the past, but what we're going to look at is Peter has actually been with us for a little over 10 years. So we're going to talk about 10 years, 10 lessons that he's learned over 10 years of doing CrossFit and training at Reason. Specifically, he's been at Reason for 10 years, which is why we're doing the 10-year episode. But he's been doing CrossFit for 11 years, 1 year before starting in my garage. We're going to kind of kick off and just give some context to Peter's history, our relationship, our friendship over the years. This is going to be much better viewed on video. So if you want to go over to our YouTube channel, it'll be on there. It's going to be a lot better on there because we're going to go through some really epic and awesome photos. But if you're just listening in, hopefully we can put some links to those photos on at certain timestamps of this episode. And yeah, enjoy, guys. So, dude, Peter, thanks for being here. I just want to give context and just open up with a couple photos. So I'm going to a screen share real quick. So
we're going right into it.
Right into the fan, right for the fans, man. So this is the first photo I wanted to go over. You know, to give context, this is about when Peter and I had met in I think we met in 2003, if that's correct. Is that right?
No, it was Rice. So Rice 2002.
2002. So I was a sophomore, you were a junior in high school. We met at a church retreat. You were a football player. I was a basketball player that was quickly gaining weight and no longer being an athlete. I mean, let's just kind of talk through your childhood and your experience with health and fitness. Like what when you look back on it, like what and you do a reflection, what's the story?
I mean, I think I started playing football because I wanted to just learn how to use a weight room, really, and just be athletic, and also, you know, be one of the cool kids. Obviously, I kind of grew up most of my life being like the chubby kid.
Yep.
And so I think in high school I wanted to change that and be like, you know, the buff dude. I guess like walk around and like be buff, you know, and like bench press all the time or whatever. So for a long time, my fitness journey was, you know, obsessively defined by how much I bench pressed, how big I was. And that was kind of all that mattered. It was never about like health, you know, especially when you're in high school, it's never about health. Like we're not like, oh, I'm trying to eat less, you know, Carl's Jr. or whatever.
Yeah.
And so because of that, I also just didn't know how to manage my weight. Personally, didn't know how to eat right.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't really have guidance, just had what back then was, you know, whatever internet stuff you could figure out for yourself. And
back then the internet wasn't even what it was today, right?
Yeah, exactly. So you kind of had to like just guess, and then, you know, like really dig around for resources and read like, you know, random stuff like Men's Health or like, you know, Testosterone Nation and stuff like that. You know?
Yeah. When we first met, you in this photo, you're actually, I think you had already lost some weight. I mean, you're like taking diet pills at the time or something like that. This is, I think this photo is by the time, we're like almost college, I think, or like early college.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. So you had probably lost like 30, 40 pounds by then. So this photo doesn't really do justice as to how big you were. But what did you weigh? Like, I remember when we first met.
If I had to guess, maybe 260, 270.
Really? Dude, I had assumed way bigger.
I don't think I ever broke 3.
Dude, what was your highest weight?
My highest weight, I think I graduated high school at like 295.
Okay, that sounds about right. So 295, and you were playing what, center?
I was playing guard and tackle.
Guard and tackle.
Offensive line, yeah.
That's right. So your journey hasn't always been like, I mean, it's been in the gym. You enjoy being in the gym. Nobody ever forced you into the gym. Like you thought it was cool, right? Like you being in football culture, you know, like Masuda can probably relate. Like and Luke as well. There's this culture of like it's good to be. It's like it's good to be buff, right? That you want to have muscles, gives you confidence, and so on. How did that evolve? Like, I mean, how many years were you kind of in that mindset?
I feel like I carried that into college. So in college, obviously, I didn't play football anymore. I wanted to be active or try to be fit. So I still went to, you know, back then it was the one LA Fitness on Main Street was like the only gym around for like 15 miles or whatever. So we did that a lot. But I think it was always like, in terms of like, especially in my weight, I never knew what to eat. So it was always this constant, like, you know, yo-yo dieting, losing weight, gaining weight, trying weird fads. Yeah. You know, doing like the protein shake only diet, you know, doing doing low carb, trying diet pills. And so, basically did that until I finally found CrossFit in 2012. Yeah.
You guys are looking at a photo right now. There's a photo of Peter. I think he's a senior and I'm a junior, maybe.
Yeah, I think it's either that or we're probably just graduating.
Or we just graduated. Yeah, you just graduating. But that's a good shot of us as teenagers. And then I got one more photo of us here as kids.
Dang, wonder how all these kids are doing now.
Dude, this guy's got to be like 30 or like late 20s for sure. Yeah. Cool. So that's when you found CrossFit. Before we give some context here, I want to show this photo. So you're part of the garage. Right here. Can you see this?
Yeah.
The best. You're part of the garage. Look at that.
The original garage crew.
The original garage crew. John Woo. Rest in peace, brother. He's now a dad. So RIP, homie.
Oh my God.
But yeah, like everybody in this photo is actually a parent now, except for you.
Wow. Jeez.
So this was actually not your first workout. I have a picture of your first workout here. Peter's first workout was September 9th. And I remember at the time you were, I think, in Taiwan.
Yeah, I was in
Taiwan. And I had gotten like super into CrossFit for about 2 years. And I think I was hyping you up over at the time. I think we're still messaging on like, what are we messaging on? What platform at that point? Was it Facebook? Was it AI? Were we still using AIM at that point?
No, I think it was probably Facebook, maybe Google Chat or something.
Oh yeah, maybe Google Chat. And I'm just like, I'm super into this. You thought it was kind of a word that isn't used anymore because it's 2022, but you thought it was kind of lame and for females. I remember you saying that at the time. It seems like it's for chicks and not for men. That's not how men lift weights. And I remember I got you to come to my garage and you were able to eat a little bit of humble pie here. We got you to do this workout. You should actually do this workout. I'm literally curious to see what you would get. 259 of burpees and kettlebell swings. And I think you swung a 53. So that was your first CrossFit workout.
My first time ever swinging a kettlebell. So
yeah. So I mean, fast forward, we talk about your journey and you've gone through a lot of ups and downs, different iterations. I'm going to show some more photos here. Different iterations. This is us in the garage doing your first CrossFit Open, me, you, and Ibby. Yeah. And then there's some historical evidence of us just goofing around. And here's you creeping on me while I was napping. And here's us. This is our flexing over the years. You know, this photo here, right here, boom. I always thought this was the original one, but apparently you're saying it's not.
Maybe, but I don't know.
But yeah, we've been doing that for years, and so it's there's been a lot of evolutions. You know, you used to be one of our coaches. How has that been? Let's talk about that. I don't think we've ever briefed that for anybody to listen to, but going from someone that was going through a fitness journey, you started in my garage, we opened the gym and you started coaching like maybe a year, like less than a year into that, like once or twice a week. What was that? What was that season of your life like?
I mean, I think back to when we first started, that was like 2013. That was when I was really still trying to figure myself out.
Yeah.
And then I was like in school to get a teaching credential, which I'm not even a teacher now. So that tells you how much things change. But I think there was a lot of learning, a lot of adulting through that phase, which is crazy because people had us coach them how to like, do snatches and stuff, which is like, wow.
Yeah.
Back then to tell you to do anything.
Yeah.
And I think it was also a lot of learning, dude, like for myself, like establishing like my own self-identity in terms of fitness, in terms of what it means to, work out, what it means to be a CrossFitter, which I mean, even back then, it still was just about, aesthetic and about like self-confidence, oh, I want to be strong because it says I'm a certain person if I can do this.
I remember you struggled with that identity for a while. Here, I got a picture of you here doing a strongman comp, and you would always say like, I'll do CrossFit, but it's as a means for me to be a better power lifter and a strongman. Yeah. I remember that. Yeah.
So like, I remember like even before now, I mean, one of the things I used to say about myself is that I'm a CrossFitting power lifter, not a CrossFitter that does powerlifting, like to define myself that way, which I mean, now I define myself as a CrossFitter. Like I do CrossFit and whatever that means, it means, whatever weaknesses I got to work on.
Yeah. How was that like, what was it like to go through that transition of identity? It's like, oh, I'm a power lifter. I do this but I do CrossFit to help me be better at powerlifting. When did that shift?
I think it shifted over the pandemic. So I think right before the pandemic is right when I decided to like retire from coaching. And a lot of people actually ask me this question, like, why did you retire as a coach? Why didn't you stay on? Why didn't you keep the free membership? It's like, first of all, it's not about the free membership, but number two, it was like, long term, I just didn't see that being a bigger part of my life. Like I would either just be stagnant as a coach, like just doing the same hour, 2 hours a week. Yeah. And then not really growing in that regard. So I didn't feel like it was something that I was going to invest in deeper. Yeah. Which if I was going to keep it, I would want to do that. And then I think from there, I basically like indirectly took like a year off of CrossFit, like just go through the motions, show up for class, and then live my life, like eat whatever I want, drink on the weekends, etc. And I think when the pandemic hit and that all got like taken away, it really made me like reevaluate my fitness, being at home, doing these Zoom classes, which I really hated. It was just like, doing the broomstick jump over the chair or whatever. It was awful. Yeah. Shout out to Luke though for being creative. But I think that just really made me reflect on like, what do I want from my fitness now? Like what do I want from my health? And like, health definitely is a bigger part of it, but also just made me realize like, I've been taking like my fitness for granted. I've been taking the gym for granted. Like, I go to like a really great CrossFit gym. I should be investing in doing CrossFit. Otherwise I should like move on and go join, the place down the street and just deadlift and bench for the rest of my life. And so I think once the gym reopened, I was like, dude, I got to go back, and we're coming back every day. And like, we're not taking this for granted anymore.
Yeah. I saw that. I remember kind of seeing you kind of walk through that. Just kind of transition into, so you're not a coach anymore. You have been like a member of our community now for like almost 3 years, right? Has it been 3 years? 2 years?
2020. So
it's like 2.5 years almost, right? And how's that been being on that side?
I mean, I enjoy it. I think, I think this is the best CrossFit gym ever. Although I've only been a member here, so I have no perspective, but it's nice to be a part of the community. It's a great community to be part of. The culture is great, and I love getting coached. Yeah. And I think for me, just, I show up, my focus is on me and my workout. And, even nowadays, once in a while people are like, oh, can you like look at like this or that? And I'm like, as a fellow member, I can look at it, but
I have nothing to offer you.
There's nothing. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Like there are professional coaches walking around that you should probably talk to first. And so it's interesting. I definitely don't feel like, you know, there will always be people that will forever 100% see me not as just a member.
Because of the tenure, they've been here as long as you have, right?
Right. You know, or, you know, I was like their first coach or whatever. And so there'll always be that. But for me personally, I enjoy just being a member, just enjoying the process of, you know, working on myself.
Yeah.
And just working out.
That's cool, man. Let's kind of talk about the 10 years. So, you know, 10 years is a long time. And I other than you and people that are on staff, I can't say who has 10 years at our gym. Nobody has 10 years, right?
Yeah, it's not.
Yeah. So you're kind of the only person that holds that. Obviously, it hasn't been 10 years as a member, right? It's been 2.5 years as a member, but 10 years of being part of our community and now, you know, having your own space. What are the top 10 lessons that you've learned?
Number one, I wrote, I mean, these are like lessons from like life and from like, you know, doing CrossFit, et cetera.
Sure.
But the first lesson is the world is not against you. It's just not for you in any way. And so I think the idea that is just like, I think it's easier to see like our lives as like, oh, you know, I'm just such a victim of my circumstances, you know, like I wish I could do X, Y, Z, but I have this and that blocking me, you know, I wish I could eat better, but like, you know, so-and-so at home eats this. And so I have to eat that. But I think the idea for me was like learning to take ownership of those choices of like, no, I don't have to do, like nobody's holding a gun to my head and making me eat it. Yeah. You know? And so unless it truly is life or death, like you can always make the choice. You know, like there are going to be external pressures in life. Yeah. But that doesn't mean that you can't make the choice and the active decisions to, you know, against that. Yeah. So basically don't be a victim. And is that something that you struggled with early on? Yeah. I mean, so I think in the past year or so, like one of the things I did was get like a nutrition coach. And so I think a big part of that was just understanding. I think in the past, my nutrition was always based on like these weird ideas of, you know, don't eat these bad foods, eat these good foods, or like, you know, just eat celery sticks all day or something like that. Yeah. Which is fine if you enjoy. And so I think instead, right, of course, you know, if that's what works for you and you know, you stay consistent with that for 10 years, great. But I think just with working with Simona, her name is Simona. Shout out Simona. Shout out Simona. Like learning, like, you know, there are some things in my life where I just like doing, you know, like I'm going to eat sushi, or like, you know, I want to go out and eat on Saturday. That's what I like doing. Yeah. But like, where can I, like, you know, what do I not have to eat? Like, do I need to eat fried chicken on a Tuesday because I'm, you know, tired from work or whatever? Like, you know, there's certain actions where I didn't need to do those things. And just, you know, diving deeper as to why or what else I could do instead. Yeah. It's awesome, dude. Number 2, I said, knowing what you want is half the battle. Knowing how bad you want it is the other half. I can afford it. This guy's a writer, dude. I think the idea with that was just like, I think, you know, it goes back to number 1, where it's like a lot of times you have excuses like, you know, I'm too busy, I can't afford that. And, you know, even with nutrition coaching, that for a big part for me was like, oh, you know, I can't afford that. Like that's, you know, X amount of money per month. But the reality is like, well, actually I could afford that if I just, you know, stopped doing these other things. Yeah, if you owned it. Yep. Right. And then I think for, you know, and, you know, I hear that from people, and I don't want to judge anybody's life. Like whatever you're going through it. You know, I hope you figure it out. But, you know, like at the end of the day, like a lot of times these are just excuses, you know, at least for me, they were just excuses. You know, if I didn't have time, you know, the question really went back to like, do I really care about whatever this was or whatever I'm doing? Yeah. I always think about that. That's absolutely true. It's always going back to knowing what is it that you want. I mean, we shared this story a couple times now, but shout out to Dario. Like Dario literally signed up to do freaking Uber after he joined the gym, because he was like, this is exactly what I want. I don't have the money. I'm going to pay for it first, and then I'm going to go make the money because that's how bad I want it. Right. And I always think to myself, that was really poignant for me, because it wasn't necessarily like an ego boost for me or anything like that. It was in the moment, I really respected what he said
And what he did was because you're so clear on your conviction of what you want, you found a solution that you believe is going to get you to where you need to go, and you're all in.
Right.
And there's no excuses, because the truth is the only thing holding us back from getting the things that we actually want is ourselves, right? If you really wanted it, you would go and find a way to make it happen. So kind of speaks to that example, which is pretty cool.
Get a coach, go to therapy, heal, get vulnerable, ask for help, and embrace your feelings. And I think for me, those are just things that I did that I felt really moved the needle for me in different ways. Going to therapy, that really helped deal with, personal trauma and understanding my own emotional state.
Yeah.
And then, understanding how to take that, getting a coach. I think I was really hesitant about getting a coach for a long time, but understanding, especially at this point in my life, I'm like, yeah, if you want to improve anything, just get a coach, man.
Yeah, man.
Even being at the gym, I remember I get 2 cues from Drew and immediately something can click versus me just trying to rip at it for 6 months.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely agree with that. I spent more on education and coaching in the last 2.5 years, 3 years than I have my entire life. So
but just say no, maybe helps no one. So I think for me, that's just responding to, other people's, I guess, requests, or when I want to do something and I ask somebody else, just say no, say no quickly, and just accept that as a response and move forward with your life instead of just, saying maybe, or, I don't know.
Don't try to people
and then
please.
understanding, right. Or understanding when somebody else tells you maybe or something like that. Normally I'll just be okay, cool. And then but personally, I'll take that as a no. I'm not going to you can't wait for somebody to tell you yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Something I've learned to do over the years too is I'll say either yes or no. And if it's a yes, that's more leaning towards a maybe, I'll literally give them the context as to, I'll say yes, but let me get this squared away first to make sure it's a for sure yes. Because I want to do it.
Nice.
This is the only thing that's standing in the way versus a maybe, and then not giving context to why it's a maybe.
Right.
Because it's you either whether you want to do something or not, right? And
right.
Yeah, so that's cool. That's a good one.
Yeah, and I think it's just about having good boundaries with other people and also with yourself.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times, you can overcommit easily. Number 5, I put learn to change your mind, learn to listen, challenge your religious and political beliefs, question everything, be skeptical and cynical. Over the last 10 years, I think I've changed a lot as a person. My religious beliefs have changed, my political beliefs have changed. And so I think it's really important just to keep keep an open mind and learn to learn really is what it is. How do you, engage with people that disagree with you? I think especially in this day and age, it's easy to, look on the internet and be oh, I can't believe, the other side, whoever they are, is so, whatever about their beliefs, they're so convicted, why do they do such a thing? The reality is most of these people probably are just next door to us, and we never blink an eye when we see them every day.
Yeah, but they become an enemy over
so a lot of
the
times right. So a lot of times I think we paint them over with a broad brush, whoever the other side is. I'm not trying to say who's right or wrong here, and especially in what's going on right now.
Yeah,
but
that's really good. That's really big, even in fitness too. There's so many opinions on what is the right way to do something, and I don't know that I would go down the road of every way is the right way, because I don't know that I agree with that, and I don't think that's true. But I think that I think too many people are I was in the wrong camp for a long time because I took my L1, L2. It's paleo zone, right? Or sorry, it was zone first and zone paleo, and I did all that and actually got really great results during that season of my life. But it's because I was in a season of my life where I could focus my nutrition that way, and it was just the easiest way for me to do it. Whereas you take someone that's parent of 3, I could do that, but not the rest of my family doesn't want to eat out of Tupperware. So that's probably not a good idea. So it's all context too, right?
Yeah. And then I think, I was just talking to somebody recently about how they've been getting a lot of CrossFit hate because of the stuff they post, and then people are just oh, you guys do cheating pull-ups and
oh gosh,
whatever, and understanding like, okay, yeah, like I get like, what we do looks a certain way to certain people, but like maybe you just gotta try it one time, see what it's about.
Yeah, that's like, we've been in this for so long that's like, oh, that's an old, I've experienced this first 4 years, now I don't really get that anymore. Yeah. Like, I mean, honestly, when someone says that, like my easiest rebuttal now to someone that would say something like that, oh, like those aren't real pull-ups. I go, cool. You want to throw down and let's do legit strict ones? I'll still beat you. Like, it's just like if you have that much ego where you want to call it out, I'm like, okay, that's fine. Like, I do strict as well. You're just seeing one variant of my, like what I'm doing. And you're basing your entire judgment of what we do on one little video that you saw for 15 seconds. Like, so yeah, it's silly. It's just different context too. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Cool. Right. Number 6.
Number 6, I put down a quote I got from Amos Tversky, but people pay an enormous price to avoid mild embarrassment.
That's a good one.
Opinions of others prevent you from living your best life. So, like a lot of times we choose not to do something because it's like, oh, it'd be so embarrassing if I, I don't know, their CrossFit or, or a pink shirt or something.
Yeah.
Well,
who cares?
And so I think part of that comes with getting when you're just like, your life is short, man. Like you got to live as you feel like living.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah. I was at a gym owner summit over the weekend, 2 weekends ago. And Jordan Hall, who is the Southwest, so he's the West region affiliate representative. He owns a gym in Seattle, but he lives in San Diego. Dude walked out wearing like women's booty shorts and a no bull crop top for our training session. I was like, obviously it drew attention, but the amount of like DGAF that he had, I was like, bro, I'm trying to rock that too, homie. Like this, like I didn't want, I don't want to, and I probably never will. But like I really appreciated the confidence. I was like, dude, I really respect that, and I love that. So I totally saw everything, but it was cool. It was cool.
Number 7, everything has a beginning and an end. Know when to start something, when to stop. Identify your startup costs and your sunk costs. Yeah. And I think that's just for me as like someone who always like, I start a lot of projects and I don't finish a lot of projects.
Yeah.
So I think, it's like first taking that step back and learning how to like when to start something, understanding how much that's going to cost. And then also like taking a step back and looking at something and being like, okay, is this still worth like keeping on? Yeah.
That's awesome. And to give context or just like an experience I had with that, at our last staff meeting, I shared about this, but I actually just did a video with Ish on this over the weekend on Saturday. And I was talking about the mission of what Reason is trying to accomplish in the next 20 years. We're 10 years in as of next year. We have about another 20 years to go before we fully accomplish what I believe will be like the work that we've done at least in my lifetime. And we'll probably have to reevaluate what the mission is in a few years. But the mission is to help 6,000 people get in the best shape of their life, increase their longevity and vitality, and help them live happier, healthier lives. To give context to that further is that I think a lot of gyms make the mistake of thinking that someone will join and like your job is to try to keep them forever. And that's a fallacy I've learned. And I think a lot of gym owners that I've known, especially in our area, just people that I've talked to, is take it really personal. Like, and I honestly, as a young business owner, for me, myself, first 2 years, whenever someone would quit, like I would like cry almost, right? It's like, it's so personal. And something I've learned is if we're here to fulfill this mission, that doesn't mean that in fact, it should mean that we don't keep people forever. Our I call it leg, our average length of engagement, our gym is about 2.5 years per member before they either move on to something else. So we've had tons of people that through COVID like found something new, and now they're like, I look at like Alvin's crew, who's no longer with us, but they're all like cycling together. And it's funny because I think everybody thinks like, oh, like when are they going to come back, this and that. And from my perspective, if they've found this and this is good for them and this is a new routine, I think that's great. I think they should go all in on that, because if you can do that with a passion and that's going to give you longer health, like I'm not going to talk about like the pros and cons, right? I think it's just the pros are that they're doing something, like whether that's, like you can say all the negative stuff about cycling that you want, they're still doing more than nothing. Right. And I think a lot of people lose that perspective of that, you know what, everything does have a beginning and end. Like whether you're a coach at our gym, whether you're a member, in the time that we have you, we want to make the best of that time. And when it's time to move on to find something else, we hope that you find it, whether it's in a gym, in our gym, in another gym, or even outside of the gym. Like, we hope the best for you, and we want the best for that. And that's what our movement is about. It's not about getting you to come here and lock into a 10-year contract, right? It's like, that's not, like, that's the mistake that people make when they realize, they think that that's what's helping someone. And the truth is that, like, you help them get to where they need to go, and you play a part in that, you know, and that maybe that's for a short season.
Yeah, exactly.
That's cool, man. Thanks for sharing. That was really good. Really resonated with me. Number 8.
Awesome. Number 8, I guess this one kind of ties into the other ones, is I am in control. So kind of just going back to ownership, but also just the recognition and realization of, like, most of the things happening in my life, I can control at least my participation in it, you know, at the very least, you know. Like, I remember, like, I went through, like, a pretty dark phase with, like, my dad. And I think for a long time, I just felt like, oh, you know, but he's my dad. Like, nothing I can do about that. But, like, the reality is, hey, like, I can take a step back. I can draw boundaries. I can walk away. Like, I don't need to let it affect my life in a way that's negative, and just let it continue.
Yeah.
And so I think in a lot of other decisions in my life, I've been seeing that we're just like, you know, I'm actually in control of this, like, whatever it is, you know.
Yeah.
The food I eat, how I exercise.
That's crazy.
You know, my perspective on it.
Yeah. That's great, man. That's such a, it's funny that we talked about this on our last meeting as well. I'm like, totally, everything ties. It's like you were at our meeting, dude. It's kind of weird. I'm gonna share this slide real quick. So we talked about this at our last staff meeting. Is this keynote? Can you see this?
Yeah.
But so I shared
Really
this slide. Oh, here we go. Is this better? I'll play it. If I play it, it might help. Can you see this? No.
Oh, there you go.
There we go.
That's fine.
So, like, you look at it, like, I talk about the variables of long-term health, and there's 8 variables that play into long-term health. There's genetics, there's diseases, there's accidents, there's hormones, there's sleep, nutrition, movement, management, which is stress of life, and, like, the way that you think and connect with others, like managing that time, right? But if you look at this, like, and then there's also, like, there's the sickness and wellness continuum, where you go from sickness to wellness to fitness. And I talk about the idea of creating a buffer against all of that. But the truth is that if you look at the ones that are in bold at the very bottom, the first 4, you have no control over it. Your genetics, that's just what you're born with. Like, you're born in like a family lineage where everybody is diabetes. I'm very sorry. That sucks. Like, you're going to have to do a lot of work to reverse that. Like, it sucks.
Right.
You're probably going to get diabetes, but you can choose a lifestyle choice, the bottom 4, that fights that, right? You can take care of your sleep. You can mind what you eat, right? You can move well. Right. And then you can think and connect with others in a way that is going to bring you healthier lifestyle to manage your stress. Diseases you have no control over. Like, you can't, like, you might be the healthiest person ever, but you might get COVID, and that might take you out. Right. And that make you really, really sick. But you can fight to have the fit, put yourself in the fittest position possible so that you can do that, because you are in control of that. You have no control over accidents, whether someone drives, like, you can go out and drive right now, like, you're in your car, and someone may hit you, right? But you know what? Like, you again, those are things that we have absolutely no control over. But what you do have control over is those bottom ones. So maybe, like, what you just said made me think of that. And I think a lot of us do think that we have no control over a lot of things, and that's true. There's a lot of things, like the first 4 I shared, that we have absolutely no control over. We can't do anything about it. But there's actually a ton that we do. And like, you know, you talked about your dad. That's connection. Those are your points of connection. You get to manage that. You get to manage how, where, and how that goes, how that relationship goes. And people realize that you don't have to just accept what's the cards that have been dealt to you. Like, you can play the hand. You can still play that hand. You know.
Yeah.
So that's cool, man. That's a good one. Number 9.
Number 9, time and energy are priceless. So, you know, I think for a long time, and obviously I've been in a position of, I guess, privilege now to say that too, but, like, you know, for a long time I was, like, worried about money and, like, what am I going to do for work? What am I going to do for a job, etc. But I think just looking back, realizing, like, you know, like, money, you can figure out a way, you know, but time and your energy, like, when those things go, you know. And I think energy in the sense of, like, you know, like, what kind of energy you surround yourself with, like, the culture and, like, the personalities that you choose to keep around you.
Yep.
You know, that really dictates ultimately your mental state, your health, your fitness, those things all kind of come together.
100%. Last one.
Put on my own oxygen mask before assisting others.
Oh, that's a good one. Save your Peter.
So ultimately, definitely, coming from, being an older brother and being, having been, raised in like the situations where like, you got to take care of everybody else, kind of letting your own needs slide.
Yeah.
And like, things you want to slide. So I think understanding like you got to take care of yourself.
Yeah.
Especially if you want to take care of somebody else, I think that
100%.
that gets used as an excuse. People are like, I can't do this for me because I have, whatever.
Yeah. 100%.
My kids. But if you don't take care of you, like,
so good.
There's nothing.
So good.
There's nothing to take care of others from.
Yeah. I started, for me, that totally resonates because I don't know if you've known me all my life, pretty much like from teenagehood. And I'm sure you've seen how I've changed over the years, right?
Right.
I'm like literally not the person that like neither of us are. We're so different from the people that we were as kids. And even throughout adulthood, we've changed year to year, right? That's something I really struggle with, especially as a business owner in this industry where people we love to just give everybody the oxygen mask first. And it's something I still fight even now.
Of like hustle culture, glorification of burnout.
100%. Right. And I've seen so many of our communities like ours close down because my mentor, Coop, he says, he says, you got to eat the sandwich first. If you are a pilot on a plane and there's one sandwich, who needs to eat the sandwich? He's like, you got to eat the sandwich so you can land your plane and land your crew safely. And that's something that I've been really learning over the last 3 years and you can probably see that with me, like how I've changed as a person, just learning how to put myself in those shoes where I feel like I'm getting fed in whatever way that means. Right. That's really hard for everyone to do. I think, especially if you're a helper type personality. But it's true. Yeah. I think the first person that we need to help in our circle is us. Right. And we learn how to help ourselves, then you are able to serve. Like I serve people better now because I've helped myself.
Exactly.
So that's really good, man. That was a really good way to end your 10. I like it. Please send that to me so I can put that in the notes.
All right.
If you look back on honestly, this is a really big picture question, but as we wrap up, kind of some fun questions, but also some serious ones. What are you most proud of?
I mean, I think I'm most proud of just the person I've become and I'm becoming. Yeah, definitely the past 10 years of my life. I feel like I've made a lot of good decisions and I put myself in a better trajectory to, live a better life, but also make better decisions. Like I think some of the things that I've had to do, I feel like were definitely not easy to overcome. Like, dealing with yourself really is just kind of the hardest thing to do.
What does support look like for you in this last few years, like last 10 years? I know that's crazy because it's changed, right? But how do you feel supported in your health and fitness?
I think Reason definitely plays a big part in that. I think also being married to Ruby plays a big part in that.
Of course.
Because I think she's always 10 out of 10 supportive with whatever I decide to do. That's kind of part of our relationship where it's just like, hey, like if I bring something up and I think it's a big deal, I need it to happen for me. Like we're always like, we're going to find a way to do it. Like, it doesn't matter what like the cost is or whatever. And I think just understanding like from there, like, finding help, like I remember talking to you about when I first started with Simona, I was like, hey, like I need somebody, but not you, but like somebody, whatever it costs. And so, understanding like you need other people to help too. And then that shouldn't be free, if anything, like that should come with the price. Yeah. Like you want to pay people to help you. Like that's a good thing,
Yeah, absolutely. That's great. You kind of shared this already and then within the top 10, but if there's any rules for life that you follow related to health, do you need examples? But I feel like you kind of share some bigger life ones already, but are there any rules for life that you follow related? Like when I think about my health, these are the rules that I follow.
Oh, I mean, I think for me right now, the big ones are just like put away your phone before you go to bed and eat vegetables.
Yo, that was simple. Put away your phone before bed and eat vegetables. Yeah. Oh, that's fantastic. That was the most simplified answer ever. That was self-explanatory. Thank you. I did not expect that, dude. What advice do you want to give people for people that claim they don't have enough time for exercise?
I think if you feel like you don't have enough time, you really have to assess what you do have time for and what you are doing.
Mm.
And then how badly do you want to, I guess, be somebody who exercises? Because the truth is you probably do have time, but maybe you're, doing something else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. What problem do you feel like being part of Reason solves for you?
I think it's definitely solved my, any issues I've had with health and fitness. But even working out, I think at least a big part for me, definitely, I think one of the biggest things I get from Reason is just being able to show up at 4:30 or, whatever class I go to and just do the class. I don't have to think about like, oh, what am I doing today? How am I programming this? And I think that's kind of niche, but I feel like once you've actually tried to program, like you understand how much work that takes, like to like write programming and like establish long-term goals and like midterm goals, short-term goals, like, and then exercise selection. Like there's so much work and like emotional labor that goes into that I feel like Reason really takes that load off.
Yeah.
Number one, just exercise wise. And number two, I think community for sure. Like being able to like make friends that are like-minded and want the same things, I think is really key, because it's hard to find like-minded community sometimes.
Yeah, for sure. That's great, man. Fun little question to kind of wrap up as we got to go is what's your least, I know what it was, is I don't know if it still is, but what's your least favorite and what's your most favorite exercise in the gym?
I love all the exercises, man. I'm a CrossFitter now.
Get out of here, dude. That's the first lie you've told today.
I mean, for a while it was double unders, but I'm getting better at it now. And now I can't wait to do them, honestly, every day. Like, I'm going to try double unders today and see what I can do now. I don't love doing long stretches on the exercise bike or running. I'll say that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then of course, I'm going to love anything that's heavy and pressing overhead, or pressing in general, I guess, actually.
Interesting. Do you think that that's going to change? Like I'm very much in the same camp. And then I decided to ride the bike for 500 calories every day for like 2 years. Do you for me, I'll give you an example right now. I started doing jujitsu. I got like one-on-one lessons from a buddy of mine. And I just learned this thing called the arm drag the other day. And I'm really bad at jujitsu. And I don't know if it's because I'm so bad at it. And that's why it makes me want to get better, knowing how much space there is to improve. There's almost like this sense of, oh man, I'm so bad, but I really want to get better, because once you start to understand what it means to get better, it's attractive to want to seek that out more.
Right.
I feel like that's what you're describing with double unders.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's where I'm at with CrossFit in general now, where it's like, I don't think there's any movements I dislike, because it's all just part of the journey now, like this is all part of just being a CrossFit.
That's awesome.
So work your weaknesses.
Cool. One more last fun question is, what's your go-to snack food? And this, cause I want to know like your guilty, dirty pleasure, and also something healthy that you like to snack on.
Oh man, guilty, dirty pleasure. I love pastrami sandwiches and fried chicken.
That's not a snack, bro, but okay, sure. That's I guess this is a snack for you.
All right. Yeah.
And you go and snack on fried chicken? That's incredible.
Well, I guess I don't snack on it. I don't really snack anymore.
Oh, that's good. Oh, so that's a good answer too. So you don't snack anymore.
Yeah. So
meal, that's like your healthier, that's a dirtier meal that you would enjoy. What's like something healthy that you like to enjoy regularly?
I guess if I do snack right now, I do try to sprinkle in like healthy stuff. So I've been eating a lot of skyr, Icelandic yogurt.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
And then like nut, trail mix, things like that.
Nice. Dude, thanks, man. This was really fun, really enjoyable for me. It's like a blast from the past. Is there anything that you want to add for our listeners?
Yeah, sign up for CrossFit Reason. It'll change your life.
I will Venmo you later for that.
Okay. Unpaid plug.
Yeah, just make sure you invoice me for that plug later.
Of course.
Yeah, very, very nice. Guys, thank you for listening. This was a really cool and enjoyable conversation for me. I hope that you guys got as much out of it as I did. And as always, we want to focus here on the 5 pillars of health: movement, mindset, nutrition, connection, and rest and recovery. So as you guys grow in your journeys, we're here to grow with you guys. Have a great day, and thanks for listening.
Don't forget to subscribe and share, guys.
Follow us on Instagram at Finding Reason Podcast. Talk to you guys soon.